Hello and welcome back to the IGP Manager AOR League. We've returned after a week off for the 11th race of the season, and it's the European round. My name is Justin Sutton, and joining me once again is YouTuber Alex Gillon.
Hello everyone, good to be back once again for this race. Missed it last week, so yeah, looking forward to this one.
Yeah, happy to be back. Really excited about this. Let's have a quick look, because we only have about a minute until the race gets going. So let's take a quick look at the standings. Peter Mann now leading the way by 26 points. So he's actually got a full wins worth of points between himself and Nicolas Morales. Nicolas Navarro, Cesar Navarro in third position, just 2 points behind Morales. And then now a 32-point gap now down to Nicolas Carrasco. So it really does seem to be a three-horse race at this point. And we are going to take a quick look at the standings, or the qualifying results. So it is Cesar Navarro, one of the championship contenders, that is starting on pole position. Felix Cabanes, the Spaniard, in second position. The American Nicolas Pressey in third. We've got 9 people on the Super Softs, and then we've got 2 on the mediums, and then we've got 5 on the soft compound. So an interesting mixture here at the start as we're 10 seconds away. The lights are coming on. We're preparing to go racing for this European round of the first season of the IGP Manager AOR League. Here come the lights, and there they go. And we're just going to have a look and see if there's any changes of position. Nicolas Morales actually already jumping Autosport, as did Chandler Saita, actually. Autosport falling down quite a ways. Peter Mann, it looked like losing some positions, but he's back into 10th now. And in fact, he's gaining positions on some super soft runners already, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. So an interesting split of strategies there, Justin, as you mentioned, during the qualifying order. And Peter Mann, our championship rival, already up to 8th, 2 places ahead, or rather, he's overtaken 2 people that are on the super soft tyres. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's on heavier fuel or just on the harder tyres. And of course, we have got the other championship rival, Cesar Navarro, up there in P2, and Cabanes, as you said, in P1. All pretty close at the moment, and actually this is an interesting track because there's 2 DRS zones. Actually, no, tell a lie, there's 1 DRS zone, but there's 2 back-to-back straights, so there's an awful lot of tyre temperature that builds up during those straights, and the DRS is very, very powerful here. Of course, let's not forget these guys are on our lower level managers, as in this league they did start on the lower level, so the DRS isn't going to be as powerful as it would be with a level 20 manager, but it is still going to be pretty powerful.
Yeah, just purely because of that length. But Felix Cabanes has taken the lead after that opening lap ahead of Cesar Navarro. Valentin Cordier, again, one of those managers who's been performing very well as of recently, in third position. Jake Thompson in fourth, actually, one of only 2 teams who have yet to score points so far. Jake actually recently dropping down into last position after that 11th place finish in Hungary for Autosport. Speaking of Autosport, not been a great start for them. They're one of the 2 people that were overtaken by Peter Mann despite being on the super soft tires. Having a look at the temperature, the DRS not activated just yet. It's only lap 2, of course, but looking at the temperature, 23 degrees Celsius, so it is quite warm out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is why they're going to struggle with those very long back straights, almost back-to-back straights, and it is the higher the speed you go in IGP, the more tyre temperature you get. That's just how the game works. So at the end of those straights, the tyres will be pretty toasty, and as you said, Justin, 22 degrees now, and I suspect they'll be on quite a low push level, I imagine, particularly the super soft runners. I'll be surprised if they manage to get out push level 1. Potentially the soft runners could push up to a push level 2, potentially, but right now all I'm interested in really is how much fuel everyone has got. As you said, Justin, Autosport did drop back behind the other super soft runners and indeed Peter Mann, but they may well be heavier on fuel, so let's keep our fingers crossed for them still. I think we're all still rooting for Autosport, and we just want them to get 1 point this season, and they are currently in a points paying position. But the battle up front is very, very close at the moment. We've got Cabanes and Navarro going at it, and they are going to get DRS this lap, and Navarro will get some DRS. Will he be able to get past him down this straight? He was 6/10 back at the last count, which is more or less at the beginning of this DRS zone, and it looks like DRS isn't going to be powerful enough, but he is going to use a bit of boost. He's quite desperate to get ahead of Cabanes. He thinks he's got the pace to pull away. Didn't quite. There we go. Now he goes up into P1. So let's see now if he's going to have the pace to pull away from Felix Cabanes.
Yeah, I'd say about 20 to 25% of his boost usage there just to get past Cabanes. So as you said, clearly he thinks that he is the faster of the 2 cars. We did also see Peter Mann make another position up on Nicolas Pressey, who actually started in the top 3, if I remember correctly. So Pressey's kind of going backwards. He could be heavy with fuel, though. It is 28 laps around this circuit, so if anybody's 3-stopping, they will be coming in at the end of lap 7. We're just starting lap 4 now. But we could potentially be seeing a number of 2-stop strategies. I think those that aren't starting on the Super Softs are more likely. However, they could do, for instance, course, a super soft medium two-stop could potentially be in the works as well too. Inceralde using some boost. Cabanes actually using some boost to get within the DRS range of Cesar Navarro. He just about does that. Valentin Cordier does not pick up the DRS. Nicolas Morales has all but drained his boost. He does pick up the DRS off of the back of Morales. And Jake Thompson hasn't even touched his boost bar, still holding on to that 5th place position. But Franco Inceralde just behind has used quite a bit of boost as well. And it looks like there's quite a battle going on for 8th after Peter Mann made that overtake on Pressy and went up into 7th position as Sutton now relegates Pressy down even further, now down into 9th position. Autosport now down into 11th as Carrasco, the Spanish race winner, moves ahead of them on the soft compound tires. And are we going to be seeing some cars into the pits already? We are. Interestingly enough, it is Nicolas Morales. He wasn't even that far up. I'm surprised to see Nicolas Morales, one of the championship contenders, pitting so early, but also not really leading the way when he came in.
Yeah, interesting one. And let's not forget, you can manually pit. You don't have to wait until all of your fuel's gone. So potentially the super soft tyres are already starting to die. That could be the first sign of it. He could have thought, actually, these tyres are starting to go off already. I've got a bit of fuel in the tank. I am going to pit early. We'll only know that towards the end of the race, just judging on his pace as to whether he did that or not. But yeah, interesting choice. You said Justin there. I didn't expect it myself. But he is back out now on the soft tyres, so we'll see how he gets on. Expect him to be slower than the cars ahead. Don't forget, this is a refueling game, so of course you will be slower once you pit because you have a heavier car. And I'm just keeping an eye on Peter Mann. He's, of course, our championship leader at the moment, starting to become a runaway championship leader, I'd even say. And he's kind of up behind some super soft runners at the moment. 1.3 seconds back, so not quite getting DRS, but that's good. That's what he'll want. He won't want to be held up by super soft runners, and that'll be also a good sign as to whether their tyres are going off or not, is when the super soft runners start to push back into the clutches of Peter Mann. 2 guys in the pits right now, Cesar Navarro and Cabanes. So both of the, I believe they were leaders before they came in, so they are coming in on lap 6. So clearly that is everyone's strategy, to come in around lap 5 or 6, where everyone starts on the super softs. But we've got Cordier still going around on his super soft tyres. And look at this, Justin, very, very close from P2, P3, maybe right down to P11. All very, very close. Autosport is still out there, up to P6 at the moment, but yet to make their pit stop. So, yeah, let's see how they got on with that. And Peter Mann, again, just slightly ahead of his pack, which he'll be very happy about. He won't want to be getting bogged down in any battles.
Interestingly, Cesar Navarro came out of the pits right alongside his brother, Jose Luis Navarro, actually. And he did get ahead. However, Jose is on the harder compound from earlier in the race, and he's lighter with fuel, I would presume, at this stage. So he deployed a bit of boost to get back ahead of his brother. And actually, Daniel Thomas running very, very close to the back of Cesar Navarro. Again, he has not been into the pits just yet. So Daniel Thomas potentially could be quite a bit quicker compared to Cesar Navarro. I mean, they're almost side by side. There you go, a little bit of boost usage, just a tap. You can barely even tell he's actually used any boost there, actually, and he made the overtake, and he's now up into, some more cars into the pits. That's the likes of Autosport, Nicholas Pressy, and Chandler Seitz. So both the Americans plus Autosport coming in at the end of lap 6. Still 22 laps to go for all of those guys, and they are fitting a set of softs. Now, another successful strategy that could be an option for these guys out there today, and we've actually seen great success with this strategy earlier in the season, Alex, is super soft, soft, medium, actually using 3 different compounds. We've seen it used to great success earlier on in this season. And for those that were on the super softs that have now switched to the softs, I wouldn't rule out a medium stop at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think a lot of races I've been in on iGP has been very much on these 50% races, soft, 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 and just a normal 2-stop race. So, but this league, as you said, is very different. They tend to do some pretty wild strategies in my mind, actually. Really different. But interesting one for me right now is Corday's still out there. Will he does indeed come into the pits this lap. So lap 7, he managed to stretch it all the way to lap 7. So I suspect he will only be coming in once more after this. I imagine he will do around about 10 laps on each of his next 2 sets of soft tyres. That will be probably, just one more stop for him to go. But the other guys who came in early, as you said, Justin, maybe they could be going for a super soft, medium. Hard to tell right now. A lot of them are in traffic, unfortunately, so it's even making it even harder to read. The interesting thing, though, actually, Navarro has got pretty good pace compared to his rivals up ahead of him. In theory, he should be on heavier fuel because the guys, Jose Luis Navarro and Daniel Thomas, should, in theory, be quicker because they should be lighter on fuel. And a bit of boost there sees Daniel Thomas come up ahead. Jose Luis Navarro. And yeah, but I think Navarro, Cesar Navarro, is actually having pretty good pace in this race because just the fact he's able to stick with them and also get some DRS. So he will be very happy by that indeed. And Peterman Watch still out in P1. I expect he will do probably 10 laps, then 9 laps, then 9 laps. That would be the strategy that I would do. I suspect that's the strategy that he is also doing. So yeah, expect him to come in probably in about 2 laps or so.
Looks like Carrasco behind him, though, already into the pits at the end of lap 8 with 20 laps still to go. So he's going to have to do 10 laps on each of those stints, which is an interesting choice, especially finding out that he was actually fueled less than Peterman was, because, yeah, he was barely keeping up for him. Oh, a battle for 10th position between Carrasco and Incerralde at the pit exit. Does see Carrasco stay ahead, only narrowly, though. A bit of boost usage as well, too. Daniel Thomas setting fastest lap of the race last time out. He now finds himself in 2nd position, and one of the guys that has still not come into the pit. So Peter Mann, Daniel Thomas, Jose Navarro, and Nicholas Coleman still yet to come in, as well as the medium runners of Fazzolari and Demier. Of course, those guys still staying out there for a little bit longer. At the end of the DRS straight, though, it doesn't look like any changes of position. Nicholas Morales is right up to the back of Jake Thompson, who is looking like he's on for a possible points finish here today. That would be frustrating for Autosport on on the first race as the number 15 team out of 16. They might actually get displaced by Jake Thompson if he continues at this rate, because he is actually going really well. He's in a net 4th still, as we're actually already approaching the halfway point of this 28-lap race. So this is looking very good for Jake Thompson. I'm pulling for him as well. I'd say just as much as Autosport. We'd like to see everybody scoring points, of course. Nobody into the pits, and Peter Mann quickest last lap. And you were right, Alex. He is continuing on for a 10th lap on this soft, so we expect him in this lap, you'd say?
I'd imagine so, yeah. I'll be surprised if he goes further than this, because that just makes the stints uneven unless he's doing an interesting strategy, which wouldn't be the first time I'd be surprised by a strategy in this league. So we'll wait and see, but I am expecting him in this lap as well. We've got some DRS as well. Cesar Navarro is now going up ahead of his brother. And yeah, so I think Jose Luis Navarro, I feel like his tyres must be gone off now, because he shouldn't be slower than the guys around him, although Cesar Navarro could well be pitting very soon, potentially. But having not pitted yet, he shouldn't be behind guys that are pitted already. He should, in theory, have the lighter and faster car, but I suspect after 10 laps, his tyres are very much second-hand. And yeah, he's just losing a bit of pace. And Peter Mann does indeed continue for another lap, just to go against what I predicted. So very interesting strategy there. I want to say could even be going for a one-stop, but surely not on a set of soft tyres. 14 laps on a set of soft tyres, that seems like an awful long way to go. We'll have to wait and see, but I've got to say, I'm expecting him in. Can't speak. I'm expecting him in at the end of this lap.
Nicholas Coleman switches to the medium tires, so he's the first one to switch to a set of mediums during the race. Again, Fazzolari and Demier both starting the race on those sets of mediums, but Coleman fitting a set of fresh medium tires. Let's look a little bit further up the road. We did have Nicholas Morales finally make that overtake on Jake Thompson. He's not giving up on that, though. He's used a bit of boost to get the DRS down what is, again, a very long DRS straight as well, too. And it has allowed him to close right up to the back of Morales. However, it was not enough to actually make the move. He's got Nicholas Carrasco, again, the winner from Spain, and a one-time championship contender anyway, in there as well. Peter Mann is coming to the end of the lap. Will we see him finally come into the pits? Yes, we do. Peter Mann pits from the lead at the end of lap 11. Will Daniel Thomas follow him? Because he's the only other one that stayed out there. Yes, he did. So, interestingly, Peter Mann and Daniel Thomas both running the same sort of strategy, it seems. And Peter Mann has come out of the pits in 3rd position. Is Cabanes going to get him? I don't think so. Peter Mann stays ahead, comes out of the pits in 3rd position after pitting on lap 11. Now, he has gone on to another side of the soft, so clearly not a one-stop strategy. Could he possibly be going until lap 22 and then fitting a set of super softs for the end? I'd say that's certainly potentially an option for him. Just looking a little bit further back, I saw Carrasco deploying a bit of boost, but he's not going to be close enough to the back of Thompson. Morales as well, pulling away from Jake Thompson after setting the fastest lap last time around with a 138.8. So now Cordier is kind of the cork in the champagne bottle here. He's used a lot of boost. Peter Mann has used a fair amount of boost, and Felix Cabanes has used a similar sort of amount compared to balancing Cordier. Cordier and Cabanes were having a heck of a battle earlier on, and actually Peter Mann has somehow managed to sandwich himself right in between, in the middle of what was, like I said, a very, very close battle. So very tight for second position. So, Cesar Navarro kind of running away with it at the moment, but potentially he might be on for one more stop. And Felix Cabanes does not want to stay behind Peter Mann. And I think that's the right call, Alex, because Peter stayed out for 11 laps. What's to say that he won't do that again? And Cabanes almost certainly has less fuel than that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's only Peter Mann's second lap since pitting, and Cabanes has done 8 laps, so I imagine he'll be pretty light on fuel. I suspect he will be coming in, or when potentially could push it a little bit further to try and do a two-stop. Judging on his pace, potentially he will, because he's not lighting up the timing screens. But I think I might just stop predicting the strategies in this league, Justin, because I always get it wrong. I always bet to a certain thing, and they always do the very different, because the strategies are always very interesting in this league, which is good to see. To be fair, that's the beauty of this game, is the variety of strategy. But yeah, I think Peter Mann will take this for now. He's not dropping back though, Justin. As much as I agree with you that Cabanes, I agree with Cabanes' decision. Actually, Peter Mann's even using a bit of boost to get up ahead of Cabanes. So clearly, it feels like he's got the pace. I wonder if these guys' tires are starting to go off as we do get Navarro into the pits. So he was light on fuel, hence his little gap out in the lead there. And yeah, I mean, I feel like on this race we're seeing a bigger effect of tyre wear. As much as Peter Mann will definitely have heavier fuel, how much heavier is up for debate, but he will of course have fresher tyres. Whereas Cordier up ahead will have lighter fuel, but much more worn tyres that are probably over that 50% cliff that I often talk about. Peter Mann using a little bit of boost just to make sure he gets the DRS off of Cordier. He wants to gain that time with DRS, even though he knows he probably won't overtake him. But I have to say, Justin, Peter Mann, at the moment at least, looking quite likely for this race win. Really good performance from him once again.
Yeah, Cesar Navarro pulled 4 or 5 seconds or thereabout. Oh, Cesar actually makes the overtake on Franco Insaurralde. He came out of the pits in 6th position after making his second stop, but he's moved that up into 5th. However, actually, what is the gap at the moment between Peter Mann and Cesar Navarro? It is just over 5 seconds at the moment. So Navarro, we think, is going to do one more stop, considering we're just hitting the halfway point of the race now, and he's already stopped twice. So it's safe to say that he is on a 3-stop strategy as Insaurralde pits from 6th position. So Navarro needs to close up about a 5-second gap between himself and Peter Mann in order to make this extra stop work. He needs to not get stuck behind any traffic either. But he is the leading 3-stopper at the moment. We do think, yeah, for instance, Jake Thompson, Nicholas Morales, these guys are definitely on 3-stop strategies as well, too. And look how much further back they are compared to Cesar Navarro. So, yeah, of the, we think, possible 2-stoppers, don't call this a prediction, we're just telling you what we think. Of the people that we think are stopping twice, Peter Mann is looking the best at the moment. Of the people that are stopping 3 times, Cesar Navarro is looking the best at the moment. Valentin Cordier, though, is going very well, I have to say. Let's just remind ourselves of what... Yeah, so Cordier is going to have to stop before Peter Mann, for sure. But we think they both are only stopping one more time. The only difference is Cordier would be going onto the softs, Peter Mann may be going onto the super softs.
Yeah, I'm not even going to comment on the strategy anymore, Justin. I think I'm going to give up on that one. We'll just have to wait and see. Cabanes comes into the pits for a set of the medium tyres. So he is running that strategy that you suggested could be a possibility. Super soft, then medium. So he will be going to the end. About 12 laps on the medium, that should be possible. And when I last spoke, I did mention that I think Peter Mann's got it in the bag, but you highlighted there, Justin, Cesar Navarro actually isn't that far behind him at all. And actually, I mentioned earlier that actually this could be a tyre wear limited race, and he, stopping in extra time, should in theory have better tyres than Peter Mann, so he could well have a chance here. That said, he has used most of his boost, but then again, so has Peter Mann. Once again, we're seeing the trend of this race of the drivers using most of their boosts way before the end, which is a very different strategy to me. In fact, I've got my own race running in the background right now, and I've still got 88% of my boost, and I'm only half through it. So just to highlight that. But yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to call this year. I think Navarro has got a shot. He'll need to put in some pretty lightning laps, which Peter Mann was enjoying the DRS off of Cordier just then, and Carrasco actually comes to the pits from P3. Be interested to see what tyre he puts on. He did 8 laps on his soft tyres, so I'm expecting potentially he will run the strategy you suggested, Justin, put on the mediums. He does indeed. So he can for the mediums, but I suspect Navarro will squeeze it a little bit longer. Of course, he only pitted 4 laps ago. Cordier pitted 10 laps ago, so his tyres will be very second-hand. But I suspect he will run softs till the end, and I suspect will pit probably at the end of this lap, maybe the next lap. He won't run any longer than that. for sure. And looking at the pace, it's hard to judge at the moment because Peterman used some boost on the last lap and indeed got DRS. It's hard to judge the pace between Peterman and Navarro. Currently 6 seconds, which is a lot, but Peterman's tyres haven't gone off yet, whereas Navarro's are 2 laps newer. So in theory, he will start to reel Peterman in for 2 whole laps once Peterman's tyres do fall off that cliff that I always talk about. And yeah, currently though, pace is very, very similar. So yeah, hard one to call. I'm not going to say any more than that in terms of predictions.
Yeah, Peterman actually using even more of the boost as you were discussing earlier, how much boost he had used, and he used even more of it to overtake Cordier, and then Cordier actually deployed the rest of his boost to come at Peterman, but Peterman deployed darn near all of his boost. He only has a little tiny sliver of boost still remaining. Sorry, I keep switching away from this battle for what is now 6th position because I do want to see what's going on in other places, but it is very close between Cabanes, Coleman, and Carrasco, and they are all on the medium tires, although Coleman's are significantly older compared to Cabanes and Carrasco. Those two, Cabanes running super soft, soft, medium, Carrasco running soft, soft, medium. That's an interesting choice. I actually like that. I think that's a good choice of strategy as well. Coleman 0.2 behind Cabanes, though, is going to pick up the DRS. He's got a bit of boost, but I don't even think he's going to need it. The purple car overtakes the pink car and moves himself up into 5th position. But again, he is light with fuel, and those mediums will hold up rather well, even after 8 laps of racing, as Coleman has already done on that set. So he's going to hold on. Nicolas Morales, it looks like, making the overtake on Jose Luis Navarro. That is for 9th position. Not been a great day for Nicolas Morales out there. Again, he's one of the 3 championship contenders at the moment. Peterman leading the way. Cesar Navarro actually just took 2nd position back as Valentin Cordier comes in at the end of lap 18. And so he's got a 10-lap stint to do on this set of softs. So, yep, we actually called that exactly right. So he did 11 laps, 7 on the super softs, 11 on the softs, and he's going to do 10 more at the end on this set of softs. Just having a look once again. Oh, Coleman really starting to break away from that battle, actually. And just looking at the gap, now we don't have Valentin Cordier in the way. We can actually look directly at the gaps between Peterman and Cesar Navarro. Peterman is on the older tires and probably lighter with fuel, whereas Cesar Navarro has the healthier tires. And he's probably going to be coming in, let's see. Yeah, he's going to be coming in at the end of lap 20. So not this lap, but rather next lap. So I imagine he's doing a 4-8-8-8 strategy with the super softs and the softs to finish it out. As Saita now becomes the latest person to overtake Jose Luis Navarro. So he's lost a couple of positions in the last few corners or so. But a quicker lap that time for Cesar Navarro, but still not quite on the level of Peterman that he really needs. And Jose Luis Navarro does come into the pits actually at the end of this lap. So his tires were probably shot, which is why he was losing all of those positions. But still a very close battle going on in the midfield here. Nicolas Morales wants to get by Jake Thompson, and just as a little Jake Thompson update here, Alex, he is still running in the points. Autosport have slipped back. They're actually not far behind P10 as far in terms of time. It's less than 15 seconds, I want to say, just looking at the gap. So they're not that far back, considering that we're coming to the end of this race already. But Jake Thompson still hanging in there. He lost the position to Morales. Morales overtaking Carrasco now as well, too. He's on the softs, though, at the moment, so he is really flying, is Nicolas Morales. And he is not going to be going to the end, though. Speaking of going to the end, I think Navarro in this lap.
Yeah, exactly. And Peterman as well in. So he is doing this strategy that I pretty much suggested at the beginning, except for he just ran 1 lap longer in the first stint. So coming out, and this is the time that Cesar Navarro needs to push hard. So he will now be much lighter on fuel than Peterman. His tyres will now start to be a little bit second-hand, but this is the time where he really needs to make the gap. But in all honesty, Peterman managed to get the gap up to, what was it, about 8 seconds before he pit, something like that. So Peterman, his pace is just incredible. Yes, he did have lighter fuel, but his tyres were worn and still just able to just pull away from Cesar Navarro. So I think Navarro is going to need to push pretty hard now on the, as I said, on the lighter fuel load. And Daniel Thomas as well behind him. Interestingly, running presumably the same strategy as Peterman, but running a little bit longer than him. So again, just little varieties, little variations in the strategy here. I suspect Daniel Thomas will come at the end at the end of this lap, which will give us that nice live gap between Cesar Navarro and Peterman once again. Cordier back in P4. He has now made his final stop. So expected to stop again. Potentially Coleman. I would be surprised if he goes to the end, in all honesty. So I suspect we'll see Coleman in again. And we do indeed see the first two come in, actually. So actually, Navarro was only 1 lap lighter, or had 1 lap heavier, rather. So wasn't able to make the gap. So I think Peterman now is going to have a nice, comfortable back gap till the end. Navarro going to a set of the soft tyres as well. So Peterman looking pretty good in the lead at the moment. But yeah, Cordier has probably made his final stop just about, I would imagine. And Cabanes, I'd say he'd probably stay out. So would Carrasco. Incerralde, I suspect, will be in again. And that's about it, I think. So it's really just those medium runners and Incerralde in the middle that I expect might come in again. Medium runners, they're a hard one to go. Actually, no, they'll definitely stay out, won't they? There's only 6 laps left. I was thinking we had longer left in the race than we did. It always flies by this race. But yeah, so probably Coleman, the only guy to pit, who has just pitted by the looks of it.
Yep.
As I was looking at my screen, I was just too busy looking down the order to try and find other guys that are pit. So everyone is now pitted, I believe. So this is now just a straight fight to the end.
Yeah, he's come out still in the points as well, too, and he's onto the soft tires as well. He's 1.7 seconds behind Nicholas Pressey, who is also on the soft tires. They're quite a bit older compared to Coleman's, though, so certainly I'd say he has a good chance of taking P8. As well, the medium runners aren't going to slow down too much, but Coleman is going to be pretty quick, especially with such a short stint on those soft tires. So, but yeah, Cesar Navarro is in for third. Much fresher tires compared to Valentin Cordier. So Valentin Cordier is doing 17. I think there's actually something wrong with the tire display today. I think it's off by 1 lap, if I'm not mistaken. Because yeah, I definitely remember saying Cordier came in at the end of lap 18, which would mean a 10-lap stint, not a 9-lap stint as it was showing there. So yeah, Cordier is going to be on significantly older tires compared to Cesar Navarro after using the 2-stop strategy compared to the 3-stop. So Navarro should be that little tiny bit quicker, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to make up that 2.4 second gap. He does have a bit of boost, whereas Cordier does not. So I'd certainly say that's a possibility, but Peter Mann is looking very, very good at this stage. Yeah, he's got a 6.3 second gap down to Valentin Cordier. He's now dipping into the 137s, a 37.9 last lap, 0.6 quicker than Cesar Navarro, and they should be equal on fuel. And he has 1 lap older tires as well, too. So it's looking very, very good for Peter Mann. He won by almost 7 seconds last time out in Hungary. It's looking like he might be trying to better that even further. We did have Incerralde come into the pits, as you predicted, Alex. He has come back out on a set of the Super Softs for a 5-lap stint at the end of the race, just behind Jose Luis Navarro. He could be a real threat for some lower points-paying positions. And also, little Jake Thompson update once again. He's unfortunately fallen out of the points after making his 3rd stop, and he has Incerralde ahead on fresh Super Soft, so I don't think he's going to be making the overtake on him. And indeed, he's got Autosport right behind him as well, so that could be a battle for 15th position, even though neither of those cars is in with a shot of picking up points here today potentially. Because yeah, I think all of the pit stops are done. I'd be very surprised to see somebody come into the pits at the end of lap 24 or 25.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, just dropping out of the points, but they're not too far behind P10 there, Saito, so they could potentially pick it up. But everyone being on theoretically the same fuel, I think they're going to struggle, and neither of them have got any boost left either. So unfortunately, I think that is another pointless race for them at the moment. And I was just checking out the boost while you're talking there, Justin. Apologies if you've already mentioned this, but Daniel Thomas has actually got most of his boost. He's probably got about 2/3 of his boost. So he could potentially be a contender, well, certainly for the podium. He's using a bit of it now. Only 3 laps left in this race, so he's using a little bit of boost just to try and get some DRS off of Navarro ahead of him. Navarro has got a little bit of boost. Cordier's got none. Peterman's got a little bit as well. Of course he has, and as you said, Justin, potentially trying to better his previous best of 7-second win. He's going to go for a Mercedes-style dominance, I think, in this race. And I have to say, I think he must have developed this car better than everyone else. You know, it's not just purely strategy, as much as he did have a slightly alternative strategy. Just some of them, it's not like he's doing completely different and wild strategies. In fact, he's on almost exactly the same strategy as Daniel Thomas back in P4, but just considerably ahead of him. So whether it's driver training, whether it's car development, I don't know, but something he's doing absolutely right, which is why he's winning. Totally deserved to. Daniel Thomas, then, he has used quite a bit of his boost now. He's used about another 1/3 of it. So he's only got about a 1/3 left now. And is quite close to Cesar Navarro. So he's going to look to get some DRS on this lap, I suspect, and see if he can overtake him And then potentially push up to P2. Cordier, has he got enough boost to do that? I think he'll need the pace as well as the boost. And he is now going to get some DRS. He's not used any boost at the beginning of the straight, interestingly. But opening his DRS now, I don't think he will be close enough to get him. No, he won't. DRS just isn't powerful enough for these low-level drivers. But he will look to get the move done very soon, I expect. And, well, what do you think, Justin? Podium or higher?
Boy, I will say this. I thought Cesar Navarro was going to overtake Valentin Cordier, and then Daniel Thomas was going to be battling Valentin Cordier. However, I have to say, it's looking like Navarro could possibly drop off of the podium at this rate. Daniel Thomas is going very well. As you mentioned, he didn't use boost prior to the DRS zone. He closed up 0.3 of a second to the back of Cesar Navarro in Sector 2. He's lost now 0.2 of a second in all of that, and actually his lap was 4/100ths of a second overall slower than Cesar Navarro. So yeah, unfortunately, it seems the DRS alone is not going to be enough for him to make that overtake. Meanwhile, Peter Mann, using what was left of his boost, sets a purple lap of 1:37.2. That is a very quick lap for Peter Mann. Are we going to see any boost usage this time from Daniel Thomas? No. Again, he's holding on to it. He's just using the DRS as it stands at the moment. This is the penultimate lap, so white flag this time by as we come up to the last lap. So Daniel Thomas possibly just waiting for that very last moment to deploy all of his boosts, get as close as he can. He could even potentially be really stepping back his push level and just letting his tires get nice and cool. And then what I would do is probably right around these final few corners, turns 23, 24, 25, just push level 5 as hard as he can, close right up to the back of Cesar Navarro just before the DRS zone, deploy that boost, and hopefully for him it'll be enough to make that overtake. Peter Mann, without boost, sets another fastest lap, a 1:36.7. It's now almost 10 seconds down to Valentin Cordier. So Cesar Navarro deploying what's left of his boost to try and pull away from Daniel Thomas, but Daniel Thomas deploying some boost to close up to him. Valentin Cordier, it looks like, did have a little bit of boost remaining. He's going to deploy that in an effort to keep Navarro out of his DRS range. Daniel Thomas does pick up the DRS here, but I think the boost usage from Cesar Navarro is going to be enough to help him hold on to that third place position. But again, Alex, I have to say I'm very surprised here. I thought Navarro, with the much fresher soft compound tires, was going to actually make that overtake on Cordier. He barely even closed up on him, to be totally honest, so I'm surprised about that one. Franco Inceralde not making any positions with those super softs, but in the end, it is going to be Peter Mann with an over 10-second gap down to Valentin Cordier, the Frenchman picking up his maiden podium finish in second place. Again, what a season it has been for Valentin Cordier, coming in the middle of this, scoring points on his debut, getting 2 top 5 finishes in a row, and now he's in second position. It's such a shame that he didn't get to be here for the entire season, because what a display from Valentin Cordier. Now, for those that might not be aware, he is the same level. So when he was invited into the league mid-season, he was made the same level as everyone else. So it's not like he's lower level or higher level or anything like that. But I got to say, Alex, I'm impressed by Peter Mann in that gap from first to second, but also very impressed by Cordier to finish ahead of the championship contender, Cesar Navarro.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job by Cordier there. And as you said, slightly disappointing maybe that he didn't start the season, but nonetheless, he's doing a great job. He had 33 points, was down in 12th position in the championship for this. He'll be leaping up yeah, I mean, the only disappointing thing I will say for that is that it does widen the championship even further. We have Peter Mann leading the championship for this, and Cordier, of course, is not in the championship fight, so that does mean an even bigger gap for Peter Mann. He will now gain, what will he gain? Morales, where was Morales? Morales was right down there, wasn't he? So he will gain significantly in the championship here, but regardless of that, I do have to say, great job by Peter Mann. 10.9 seconds in the end was his advantage. So incredible job. Just a huge gap. And well, we'll have to wait and see. I think, do we need a bit of rain now to stop Peter Mann, or is this just us for the rest of the season? I imagine not, because we do see the such varied strategies. But yeah, incredible job by Peter Mann.
Yeah, he's going to be hard to stop now, because even if you do win against him, he's probably going to be in second or third. And that's actually what got him into the lead of this championship at the right at the go. He wasn't winning races as much as some others, but it was the consistency that got him into the position that he's in now, and it's that consistency that's keeping him there as well, too. And I mean, it's been a long time since he's had a bad race. and that's really what is shaking things up. I'm just waiting for the final standings to update now, but. Yeah, as you mentioned, Peter Mann is going to extend his lead by a further 10 points over Cesar Navarro. But Nicolas Morales, who was in, 7th position, he's going to be extending, 19 points ahead of him. So it's just loading up now, actually, for me. So let me bring this up and we can have a look. Actually, Alex, why don't you start talking us through the standings as I'm pulling it up?
Absolutely. Let me just refresh my screen then, but of course I can deal with the refresh. And Peter Manlan, of course, is still leading the championship. Great race from him, as I've already mentioned. 187 points he now sits on. So really incredible job. He is now, quick maths, 38 points ahead of Nicolas Navarro. Huge gap. What's that, about a win and a half-ish ahead of Nicolas Navarro? Really incredible. Just to say that we were, there was about 4 points between the top 2 or 3, I think, not long ago. To say that it's that big now, but it's still got quite a close battle. 4P2, 149 points, Nicolas Navarro, and then 142 points to Nicolas Morales. And Nicolas, the third Nicolas Carrasco, down on 110. So it's still, I'm going to still call it a 3-way battle for the title, Justin, even though it's potentially not, it's just a 1-way battle for the title now. I'm still going to call it a 3. And yeah, have you got it up now there, Justin?
Yep, I got it up now. So yeah, as you said, really it is a 3-way fight at this point with a 45-point gap between Morales and Peter Mann, which is essentially 2 victories. Because even a first and a second is only 43 points, and that would not be enough for him. So yeah, Nicolas Morales is now 2 wins away. Nicolas Navarro, Cesar Navarro, is 1 win and a podium away. Yeah, just 1 win and a podium. But again, that's assuming Peter Mann fails to score any points for 2 races in a row, which is extremely unlikely. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Again, that was round 11 of this 17 race season. So there is still 6 races remaining. No double points finishes or anything like that. So it is 150 points still on offer. So I mean, mathematically, even the likes of Chandler Saita and Felix Cabanes, these guys are still mathematically within a shot of the championship. But yeah, it was a 5-way battle at one point, but Carrasco and Saita kind of dropping off a little bit. Autosport is still in 15th position after that race. And I think the real talking point for Autosport there was that was a very close race for the final points paying positions. I don't know exactly what the gap was, but the gap between Autosport and Jake Thompson even up to 10th position, it was a single digit number. It was very close. So it was actually closer than it was the gap between first and second. So Autosport and Jake Thompson were closer to points this time than anybody was to winning this race for just as an example. So
yeah, just to add to that, I've actually still got the timers up here. I think they're around about, Jake Thompson was around about 9 seconds back from a points win, something like that. And Autosport were probably just over 10 seconds back. So as you said, they're just within the distance there between P1 and P2. So they are closing in, and fingers crossed for both of them, they both can score some sort of points for the end of the season.
Yeah, they've still got 6 opportunities. We don't have any more breaks. For those of you that wanted to watch last weekend, we apologize. Or last week, I should say. We missed out on last week's broadcast because I was doing the F1 esports stuff. But it was fantastic to be back here with Alex Gillon doing the iGP Manager AOR League. I look forward to this every single week, and it did not disappoint. Really excited about next week. But hopefully somebody can give Peter Mann a run for his money. It was 7 seconds in Hungary. It's over 10 seconds in Europe, but we're going to be back next week for the 12th round of the season. Thank you for joining me, Alex.
No worries. Thank you to Justin. I will just say I will not be here next week, unfortunately.
Right.
I've got other commitments, but I believe that Justin is going to find some sort of replacement for me. So fingers crossed, it's a good race. I will certainly be keeping a track on what's going on this championship, though, because can Peter Mann win again, and can he dominate again?
Yep, we will find out next week. I will hopefully be tentatively scheduled is King Kodiak, who joined us for the first round of this league and who is also my partner for F1 Esports. So I'm sure many people are familiar with King Kodiak. He'll be filling in for round 12. Alex will be back for round 13 and beyond. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time for round 12 of the iGP Manager AOR League. Bye-bye.